What's going on, guys? It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video. So it looked like Stephanie White has broken her silence about her game plan for the 2025 season. Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way up to Indy. Let's get it. Let's go. I'm here to tell you, I reported on this a couple weeks ago. Stephanie White was scheduled to be like an ambassador for Purdue. She was sitting on the board and basically talking to students about her experience, obviously, with going there, her experience with basketball. And it was just a great little event for her to take part in. And it was open to the public. With all that being said, the event passed. Stephanie White sat down with media, sat down with the president, I believe, of the school, and had some things to talk about when it comes to Caitlin Clark, the Fever, and pretty much her game plan going into this next season. Now, we know there's a lot of things transpiring with this basketball team. They done landed big time players. She came in and did a max exodus, a little bit of the roster. Well, I wouldn't say a mass exodus. I said that totally wrong. She did a roster overhaul, I should say. So she overhauled the roster, got Dewana Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, Natasha Howard, Jalen Smith, big time players to come in and make immediate impact. I repeat, immediate impact, plug and play pieces. That's exactly what Stephanie White did, and I'm all for it, bro. Now the biggest task of it all is hoping the chemistry build together for this team. Everybody could be running on the same sync like a well-oiled machine. But she did take time to speak at this event. And guys, let's check out some of the footage, react to it, and get right to this thing.
Whole lot yet. So far,
Is Caitlin Clark easy to coach?
well, so far she has been.
Okay.
I haven't done a whole lot yet. So far she has been. Most great players want to be coached, right? They want to be challenged. They want to continue to be pushed outside their comfort zone because they want to be the greatest that's ever played. And I think I don't want to put words in Caitlin Clark's mouth, but when you have somebody who works like she works on a daily basis, that is a perfectionist, that does things at such an elite level, they want to be the best. And so for me, having a player like that, and I've only worked out with her in the gym, a handful of times, but I compare her work ethic to the only other player who I've seen that works like this is Tamika Catchings, who is the all-time greatest, right? Like one of the all-time greatest. And when you have a combination of talent and work ethic and drive to be great, I mean, there's just so much that you can accomplish. And then you surround that, with great talent around her and her humility as a person. I mean, she's a great teammate. She's great with the media. She understands the big picture. I'm really excited about the opportunity to get in game situations and get into the season because just talking basketball with her has been a lot of fun.
So that was Stephanie White actually comparing Caitlin Clark to the great Tamika Catchings. Now, we know great players go that extra mile, pretty much great people in general. Like, if you're working hard at your job, you're going to work the overtime. You don't even care about the money. You just worry about getting the job done. You want to be a great content creator. You're going to create the content every single day, relentless, like your life depends on it. And it's the same thing with these basketball players and pretty much athletes. They're going to get in the gym, do everything they got to do to be the greatest. With all that being said, let's check out another clip of Stephanie White speaking about this team.
But it takes the whole team.
Yes.
And does this introduce complexity in how you recruit and coach others?
I think you have to find the right pieces. When you have players, a player like Caitlin Clark, you got to find the right fit around there. And, for us, a priority was to find veterans because we have young, inexperienced talent who want to be great. Yes, and we found some who want to be successful, but there's no substitute for experience. And so finding experienced players who fit the way that we want to play, who understand that our big three are our big three, and who aren't afraid of that, who embrace that, who want to lead by example every single day, and who want to win, who want to win, who want to compete. Like winning is hard. Winning is hard, and you do have to get a little bit lucky. You know, you stay healthy, you get the right draw, you hit your peak at the right time. You know, for us, building chemistry is going to be really important. But surrounding Caitlin and Aaliyah and Kelsey with the right people is more important. But the number one thing that each one of those players said when we got the job and we started free agency was take care of our locker room. It's not win at all costs, right? It's take care of our locker room. Because any of us who has been a part of special teams and championship teams know that talent is not enough. When you come back, you know, 10, 20, 30 years later, you're talking about the relationships. You're talking about the sacrifice. You're talking about the joy in the locker room. You're talking about, you know, pulling for one another. And you're talking about being great teammates, right? And all the joy that you celebrated throughout the journey. And that's about the locker room. And so they have the big picture in mind. They know how to keep the things that are important and at the forefront of everything that they do. And they help us understand that we're not going to sacrifice the locker room to hang a banner. We're going to use the locker room to get us our banner.
Yes. And we can't wait for that banner.
Yes.
Said we're not going to sacrifice the locker room to hang a banner. We're going to use the locker room to hang a banner. Stephanie White is an experienced coach. Her wordplay verbiage is just on a whole nother level. We got one more clip to check out. Let's look at it right now.
Tough decisions in such a competitive environment.
Well, I have children. That helps. You know, I think the biggest thing is as I've gotten older, as many of us do, you know, we tend to get a little wiser. And I think just maintain perspective. Like, look, I get to coach a kid's game every day. Do I want to win? Absolutely. Am I competitive? Absolutely. But at the same time, you know, I understand that there are lots of important things in life, right? And if there's a day where we don't win and I come home and, you know, my kids give me a hug and they're healthy and they're happy, like that's what matters to me. You know, and obviously my job, I am judged on winning and losing. But I think maintaining perspective helps me be a better coach. I think we never really have balance in our line of work. You know, I think it's more of a flow. And part of my flow is having my kids around, having them in the gym. That helps me find joy in what I do in the hard days. And so I really just try to surround myself with great people. Remember, you know, what's important. You know, understand that my job is to help our players be the best that they can be, but it's also to help them understand the big picture as well. And I think when we do that, and when we find that balance, we find that flow with one another, it helps ease some of that pressure a little bit, and it helps us focus on one another instead of ourselves. And oftentimes when we feel pressure, we're focusing on ourselves. And then go out and do the best that we can do. And that's all any of us can do every single day. Make sure that we're prepared, make sure I continue to grow and get better every single day, make sure I'm putting our players in position to be successful. And then at the end of the day, go out and do the best that we can. And some days we're going to win and some days we're not. But I feel like with that mentality, we're going to win more often than we don't.
Or principles do you prioritize in I'm sorry, in building a strong, unified team? And how do you ensure that culture is upheld throughout the season?
Yeah, that's it's tough sometimes to uphold it during the season because you go through so many highs and lows. You know, I think the biggest thing I've learned is you gotta confront the elephant in the room always, right? You can't let things fester. You can't be afraid of difficult conversations. You got to make sure to lead in that way. You got to be able to hear hard truths, you know, as a leader, and you got to be able to tell hard truths as a leader. But you also have to surround yourself with people that you trust and people who can help you, you know, when you get tunnel vision, and help you see the big picture and can be honest with you and transparent with you. But as far as the things that we value, first and foremost, competitive spirit and competitive drive. Like in our industry, if you're not a competitor, you're not going to last. And it doesn't have to be to win at all costs, right? It's just how you do what you do every single day. Like for me as a human being, like if you're leaving your shopping cart out in the middle of the parking lot, I'm judging you. You're not going to be on my team, right? Like you're not going to be on my team. If I'm watching you and you're on the end of the bench with bad body language and not being a good teammate, like I don't want you on my team, right? I don't really. It's not really about how many points you score. It's not about all the stats and the numbers and the figures. It's are you giving everything that you have every day? And it's about being a good human being. Are you a good teammate? Are you helping your teammates up? Are you a good sport? Are you shaking the hands of the opponent? All of those intangible things. Are you looking people in the eye when they're talking to you? How are you being coached? Can you take coaching? All of those things. And oftentimes we talk about there are certain program kids that you want to be a part of your team because they've been challenged, they've been coached, that they understand the bigger picture, how to be a part of a team. That they understand that sometimes it might be their day, sometimes it might not, and they're going to still be great teammates. They're going to still continue to work and grow. And then there are other players who come from programs that you don't necessarily trust that happens. So we have to do our homework. We have to do interviews, see how they answer questions. One of my first questions is always, do you love the game of basketball? If you don't love the game of basketball, you're probably not going to last very long. You can be really good and you can be really talented, but eventually that's going to fizzle out because it's going to be hard. What's your greatest failure? We don't let kids fail. Like, you have to be able to fail to succeed. Like, I got knocked on my ass, I got knocked on my butt so many times, just in life in general. And you have to be resilient. You have to know how to get back up. That's one lesson that I feel like I've learned as a parent. Like, I don't want to save my kids from everything. They need to know how to have difficult conversations. They need to know how to get back up when they've fallen. They need to know, how to connect with other people. So have you failed? And what has that been like for you? What have you learned from it? How have you come back from it? Because everybody else sees the success and they think
Shake the